Hello students. Today we are going to discuss concept of elastic collision between a striker and a stationary target and the transfer of energy to the stationary particle because of the elastic collision. First we will learn basics, that is theory part, and then we will have three examples based on this theory. As shown in the figure, you have this m1 mass moving with some kinetic energy k0, which collide with the stationary particle of mass m2. So this is the status before collision on the left hand side, whereas you can see on the right hand side that after collision, the particles m1 and m2 are moving in directions at some angle. They are moving in directions at some angle. Let's say that angle of divergence is theta. They are moving at theta angle, which theta is the angle of divergence. And we have to find out what is the kinetic energy of this mass m2. We have to find out kinetic energy of mass m2, that is we have to find out k2. This is my question in terms of k0 and the angle of divergence, that is theta. So let us proceed for solving. Since it is elastic collision, kinetic energy will be conserved as well as linear momentum is conserved. I will use the very basic fact that the linear momentum has a relation with the kinetic energy, as the linear momentum P is square root of 2 mass of particle and its kinetic energy. Let's say momentum in this direction is P1 vector, momentum in this direction is P2 vector, and momentum in this direction is P0 vector. Since the linear momentum is a vector quantity and it is conserved, you can follow that P0 vector should be equals to P1 vector and plus P2 vector. Then as per law of parallelogram, you can write down that P0 square will be equals to P1 square plus P2 square plus twice P1 P2 and then cosine of theta. Now you will use this fact that P square will be replaced by this P0 square can be replaced by 2 times of m1 into k0. P1 square will be replaced by 2 times of m1 into this kinetic energy k1. But notice this kinetic energy k1 can be written as total kinetic energy k0 minus k2 from conservation of kinetic energy applicable to the elastic collisions. So 2m1 in place of k1, you can directly put k0 minus k2 plus p2 square will be written as twice m2 times k2 plus this 2 times p1 will be square root of 2 m1, again k1 will be replaced by k0 minus k2, and then p2 will be replaced by square root of 2 times m2 k2, and then you have cosine theta, right? After 2 or 3 mathematical steps, you can find out that k2 will be equals to k0 divided by 1 plus m2 minus m1 whole square divided by 4 m1 m2 and then cos square theta. So this was my target. This way you can find out the value of Q2. I have skipped 2-3 steps which you can do after this. From this step, you can find out the value of Q2. The only term is Q2. We have eliminated Q1. We have eliminated K1 by the conservation of kinetic energy. So this way you can easily find out the value of K2. Now moving to the problem part. Moving to the problem part, this is my first question, where alpha particle with the kinetic energy of T0, which is 7 mega electron volt, is scattered elastically by an initially stationary lithium. So in this case, your alpha particle is the striker. So M1, which is the striker mass, is alpha particle, and M2 is the target, which is stationary lithium. So their masses can be in proportion with their mass numbers 4 and 6 you can write down, and the divergence angle theta is 60 degree. So using previous result, you can find out the kinetic energy of lithium will be initial kinetic energy K naught, which is same as T naught. T naught is same as K naught divided by 1 plus M2 minus M1 whole square divided by 4 times M1 M2 and then cosine square of 60 degree. This K naught is same as 7 mega electron volt. Put the values, simplify it, and you will get the answer as 6 mega electron volt. That is the answer for this specific question. Moving to the second problem now. Moving to the second problem. This is my second problem. I need to clear the diagrams. So this is my second question. Here we have a neutron. Here we have a neutron which collides with another particle, that is deuteron. A neutron collides with a deuteron, right? So neutron is the striker. This time the striker is neutron, and it collides with initially stationary deuteron. So here you have M1 as 1. You can write down M1 as 1, or you can write down it as small m. And M2, which is deuteron, will have a mass double of neutron, or you can write it 2 times of m. In the first part, the collision is head-on. There is no angle of divergence. Theta is 0 degree. And now you can find out the kinetic energy of deuteron will be initial kinetic energy of neutron K naught over 1 plus, this is again M2 minus M1, which is 2m minus 1 whole square divided by 4 M1 M2 and then cosine square of 0 degree. And solving it, you will get that kinetic energy of deuteron is 8 upon 9 times of kinetic energy of neutron before collision. And that means the kinetic energy lost by the neutron. Remember, the kinetic energy lost by neutron is same as the kinetic energy gained by deuteron. And if it is 8 upon 9, so fraction will be 8 by 9. This is A part. Moving to B part now. In B part, after collision, this neutron, which has mass m, is moving in perpendicular direction with respect to the initial. It is scattered at right angle now. So by conservation of momentum, this 2m mass must travel in oblique direction at some angle theta. This situation is after collision. And for conservation of momentum in all directions, if I assume certain velocities, for m and 2m, or if I assume certain kinetic energies for m and 2m, or if I assume momentums for m and 2m, then you can write down the momentum in this direction. You can write down the momentum as, in terms of kinetic energy, you can write down this momentum as square root of 2m and its kinetic energy k1, if it has kinetic energy of k1. And similarly, this momentum can be written as, you can write down this momentum as square root of 2 m2. M2 will be 2m. This is my m2, which is 2m. And this is m1. m1 equals to m. So 2m into k2. Since momentum in y direction is conserved, it implies m, this momentum, square root of 2 m1 k1 should be the y component of this momentum, should be equals to the y component of this momentum. The y component of this momentum will be in the downward direction. and the two momentums which are on the y-axis in the opposite direction, they must cancel each other for the conservation of linear momentum in y direction. So it should be root of 2 m2k2 times sine of theta. And from here you can get the value of sine theta as m1k1 over m2k2. You can get the value of sine square theta as this. Now, the total divergence angle. This is divergence. Notice that divergence angle is 90 plus theta. And therefore, this kinetic energy K2, as we derived in our result, should be K0 divided by 1 plus M2, which is 2M, M1, which is M square, divided by 4 M2, M1, and cosine square theta. But that cosine square theta, in that expression, theta was the divergence angle. And now my divergence angle is 90 plus theta. So I will write down 90 plus theta. And this cosine square theta will become sine square theta. It will become sine square theta. And this sine square theta can be further written as m1 by m2 k2. You can replace k1 again as k0 minus k2 by conservation of kinetic energy. And then this sine square theta, which is same as cosine square 90 plus theta. So this whole expression you can bring down here in place of cos square 90 plus theta and put m1 equals to m. Notice your m1 is equals to m, right? Your m1 is equals to m. This is m1 and m2 is 2m. You have to just substitute this value of cos square 90 plus theta, that is sine square theta, by m1 by m2 k0 minus k2 upon k2, and you will have k2 and k0 in this expression. You will not have any other thing. And when you simplify this expression, you find out that k2 is 2 by 3 times of k0. That means 2/3 of kinetic energy is now with deuteron. And if 2/3 is with deuteron, so 2/3 energy must be lost by the neutron also. So this is my second question based on the same result. Now moving to the third question. This is different question now. It is slightly different, but yes, we can do it now. Here we have collision between deuteron and a proton. So here we have a deuteron which has mass 2m. Let's say it moves with velocity v0. It collides with a proton of mass m. Deuteron collides with proton. And then after collision, the deuteron particle will be scattered at some angle. Obviously, the proton will be scattered in some other direction. And if deuteron is scattered at theta angle, we have to find out its largest possible value. We have to find out the largest value of this angle theta, which is angle of scattering. It is not the angle of divergence. For this question, we will use a concept which we have already discussed in a separate video, that in case of elastic collision, the velocity of particles in frame of center of mass, the velocity of particle in frame of center of mass remains constant in magnitude part, in a value, or in magnitude part. It can change the direction part, but it cannot change the value part. Whereas, and the second concept will be that velocity of center of mass as a vector will remain conserved by the conservation of linear momentum. So these two principles we will use in this concept. And third concept which we are going to use here is triangle law of vector addition. We can use triangle law of vector sum. So let us say step by step. Your step number 1. Velocity of center of mass can be evaluated or it can be calculated as m1 v1 plus m2 v2 divided by m1 plus m2, which gives the velocity of center of mass as 2 v0 by 3 in the right side direction. Then velocity of particle 1, which is 2m, with respect to center of mass before collision will be the relative velocity and will be calculated as v0 minus 2 v0 by 3, which is v0 by 3 in the right side direction. Now velocity of 2m with respect to center of mass after collision will also be v0 by 3. That's my point number 1, but unknown direction. Its direction is not known to us right now. And then now you follow this principle, that velocity of particle 1, and I'm using it after the collision. After the collision, you can write down that velocity of particle 1 will be velocity of 1 with respect to center of mass and plus the velocity of center of mass. Velocity of center of mass, it is known in magnitude and direction both. You know the velocity of center of mass, you know its magnitude part, you know the direction part. But this first vector, which is velocity of 1 with respect to center of mass, here 1 stands for this particle. 1 means this 2m. So velocity of 1 with respect to center of mass is known in magnitude but unknown in direction, which means you are going to add two vectors where one vector is completely known to you and the second vector is unknown in its direction part but known in the magnitude part. So we have to guess the directions also. So let's say my first vector VCOM, my first vector will be VCOM, and that VCOM, because I know the direction of VCOM, so VCOM will be in the right side direction. And then this second vector V1 with respect to center of mass, notice that this vector is unknown in the direction. So I have to randomly choose its direction, and I can choose its direction. You can choose its direction randomly, like this, like this, like this, like this. You can choose its direction in the random way. It can have any direction because the direction is unknown to us. It can have any directions. But looking at all possible directions, look at all the possible directions, and if you draw the locus of tip of the vector, if you draw locus of tip of the vectors, it must be a semicircle, because this vector will have a magnitude of v0 by 3 in all possible directions. Because the magnitude of the vector is known, only parameter is unknown, only its direction part is unknown. So if you draw this vector in all possible directions with the same magnitude of v0 by 3, the locus of tip of vector will be a semicircle. And then the crucial point, there must be one specific direction. Out of all the possible directions, there must be one specific direction corresponding to which the resultant of these two vectors is going to along tangent of the circle. There must be. So this vector will represent v1. This vector is representing v1 with respect to center of mass, and this horizontal vector is v center of mass. Because it is tangent, here you will have 90-degree angle, and now this will be the angle theta of scattering of the particle 1, and this is going to be the largest possible angle. So this sine theta can be obtained as, from this triangle you can write down, this is v1 center of mass, which has a magnitude v0 by 3, divided by this vector v center of mass, which has a magnitude of 2 v0 by 3, and it gives theta equals to 30 degree. And why I am saying that this is the maximum angle? There is a reason. Let us choose any other vector. Choose any other vector. If I choose this vector, then I will get resultant in this direction, which is at lesser angle. If I choose this vector, then I get resultant in this direction, again at a small angle. If I choose this vector, I get resultant at a smaller angle. No other combination will give you the angle more than 30 degree. And therefore, the answer for this question, which is the greatest possible angle through which the deuteron is scattered, should be 30 degree. So this was discussion of 3 questions based on the theory of collision and transfer of energy and angle of divergence, scattering angle. All these questions are very, very useful for understanding of collision between particles, and they are helpful to understand certain concepts in modern physics. I hope this concept is clear to you now. If you find any difficulty, you are free to write down message. You can send your message through WhatsApp or in the comment box. Right? Stay at home and all the best for your JEE examination. Take care.